Hi everyone, it's Viki Thornley, the Mind Body Food Coach. Thank you so much for joining me for today's special interview on Mind Body Food TV. I am joined by my friend and colleague Barb today. She is a natural therapies practitioner and she also does a very interesting technique called raindrop technique therapy. So you might want to tell us a little bit about that. I'm really keen to find out more about that. So welcome, Barb.
Thank you very much, Vicky.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. And I'll explain about the raindrop technique in a little while, because it's really almost the end of the journey that I started on with my health.
Okay. Well,
yes.
I'm really interested to hear your personal story, which was one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the Mind Body Food TV, because like many of us who come to natural therapies or holistic modalities, we do so because we have been through our own personal journeys and have started and embarked upon our own healing. So what's your journey been? What's your story been that's got you to the point where you're at the moment?
Because it's interesting now. It wasn't much fun when I was in it, but when my daughter was born, and it is almost about 11 years ago that I started to get the information I needed. So over 13 years ago when my daughter was born, I suffered, I don't know if it's the correct terminology, but a sudden onset hypothyroidism, which means my thyroid literally went on holiday and forgot to come home again.
Okay.
So and it happens with women more regularly than I realised or knew at the time, or that my health practitioner at the time knew, and I went undiagnosed for approximately 3 years. During that time, I was really, really miserable. Of course, all people could see that was presenting were symptoms of depression. No one really looked at my health or took any blood to see exactly what was going on. And in essence, it simply was a hormonal issue.
Yeah.
So I was actually prescribed antidepressants at one point, which I'd resisted for quite a long time. I had tried a few natural antidepressant things, but I wasn't depressed. It was a physical problem, and which led to all the mental and emotional symptoms. And during that period of being on antidepressants, I actually felt suicidal, and it's my daughter that kept me here. If it wasn't for my love for her and also my control issues, thinking who could mother her like I could, that I was able to stay on the planet and thought, right, this is enough. We eventually did get a diagnosis through some more blood testing when I kept requesting, saying it's not working, it's not right, and came up with that I had very low thyroid. The answer to that was a tablet every day for the rest of my life. And when I questioned that and said, well, can diet, nutrition, lifestyle things help? All I got was, possibly.
So not really any answers.
Not at that point in time.
Yeah.
And you really can't blame anybody for anything. It's just the way it was. It's just quite a narrow form of training in that type of medical situation, or sheer lack of knowledge. And so eventually I got myself to my naturopath. I did take the medication because it did help at the time. I was so depleted of everything. And working with my naturopath, I in time got myself off my medication.
Wonderful. I think it's great that you initially, when you weren't getting any answers and you went back to the doctor, and the answer you had been given was to take medication for the rest of your life. I mean, there's probably quite a few of you who are watching this now who perhaps have experienced and struggled through your own kind of hormonal or stress issues, who have gone to the doctor and been told the exact same thing, that you need to take this tablet and you need to take it probably for the rest of your life. And the wonderful thing is that you questioned, well, is there anything else that I can do? And even though you might not always get the answer from your GP, you went to somebody else who you believed might be able to steer you in that direction, and you went to a naturopath.
That's right, yes. And the naturopath helped me and guided me because then at that time I came across the essential oils that I still use today.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a range of supplements which included essential oils in the supplement and some superfoods as well. And I used those in conjunction with diet, nutrition, some lifestyle changes, and eventually, yes, got myself off of medication. And I'm medication free today, and my
Wonderful.
thyroid reads at a normal level.
Isn't that wonderful? From being told you need medication for the rest of your life, you've taken your own initiative, you've gone somewhere, you've done some reading, you've learnt, and you've made some changes throughout all the areas of your life, and you can now say, I'm medication free, to something that initially you were diagnosed and told you needed to take something for the rest of your life. How good does that feel?
Oh, it does feel good, thanks, Viki. And it's not until I talk to you and I've told my story that I realise how far I have come.
And that's very important. It's really, really important when you start from a place of such low feeling, particularly you were at a point where, you wanted to commit suicide. And without the love of your child keeping you here and your control issues, which I think, a lot of people have, without that, you wouldn't be able to sit here and share your story with us.
Exactly.
It's really, really important to look back and to recognise the strength and the inquisitiveness and the responsibility for taking care of yourself in being able to get from that point to this point. So, it's really important to acknowledge that because it's a part of your journey. And it's always good to look back at your journey, just as it is to know where you want to go, where you're headed for. It's not really about the destination. It really is about that journey. But sometimes along the way, it's very positive, it's reassuring, and it's also confidence building to stop and look back long enough to be aware of just how far you have come. It really is very, very important. And that also gives you the strength to keep going.
Thank you very much, Viki. And I guess we could go into that's what's led me to what I do now.
Great.
And similar to you, I have a passion for helping people. And in all parts of their life related to health. But lately, of course, our attention's really been drawn to stress.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So what's your take on stress?
Well, a lot of people actually don't realise what stress they're under until they're taken to a point of deep relaxation.
Yeah, and they actually start to notice the difference.
Yes.
Wow,
exactly.
I forgot how good I can feel.
So what happens when we live our stressful lifestyle and we run from here to there and we're caught in traffic and we're meeting deadlines and we want to do more and give more and have more and be more all the time, is that it depletes our body. So we go into what's called adrenal stress, adrenal overload, and when that's depleted, it pulls hormones from other centres in our body and eventually there's nothing left. It also causes toxicity in the body and it's actually a spiralling cascade downwards. We become overloaded with cortisol, which the liver can't process, so we actually have a toxic liver. And when we're under such stress, our fight or flight response goes into override. It's what we call sympathetic override. And it shuts down those unnecessary things such as digestion. It only sends blood flow to the extremities and we're a heightened alert state all the time. And I often find that when I get people on the table, their little tummy starts gurgling and there's apologies all around and I say, well, thank you, because this is telling me that your body is finally relaxing enough to do what it could be doing, which is digesting your food.
That's so wonderful. That's wonderful, because I've actually been on the table of a couple of different professionals when I was learning to look after myself better a while ago, and my digestion was one of the things that had really shut down and was not working at all. And I found myself burping and belching and things were moving and I could hear them moving through my bowel, and And I was terribly embarrassed at first.
Mm.
And, having the reassurance of the person that I would have been working with telling me that's absolutely okay, because that's actually a good thing.
It's a great sign.
It was so nice to hear, because I had understood that my body wasn't doing what it needed to do. So by me actually taking responsibility for how I was feeling, getting some help, and allowing my body to have that rest and relaxation so that it could begin then to process and do what it needed to do, what it had been trying to do while I was under such stress, it then had the ability to do that and to give me relief. So that's actually a really good point to make. Don't be afraid to allow your body to express itself however it needs to, because that's one of the reasons why we get into such distress sometimes in the first place, because we stopped listening to our body. So when we start listening to our body again, then this is when we have the opportunity to listen and to provide what it is that our body needs. So that's wonderful.
Nicely put, Viki, yes. The other concern with such constant and ongoing stress is that it leads to inflammation within the body.
Absolutely.
And this is what's leading to a lot of our metabolic and chronic diseases.
Yes.
Is because of the continued stress and inflammation. And there's plenty of medical documentation coming through now to support that.
Absolutely there is.
So getting into that state of deep relaxation, that peaceful serenity, is so important. On a daily basis if you can, but certainly at least once a week. And if you can't do it for yourself, seek someone out who can take you to that place and take you out of the world and take you out of the pain and take you to that special spot where only you can go.
Yeah, a feeling of feeling safe. A safe place, whether it's imagined or it's real. So you could take yourself out to your back garden if that's a place of relaxation and peace and quiet for you, or inner calm. Or you can take yourself off into a visualization meditation or any kind of meditation. There's so many different styles around to suit different people. Whatever it is that is going to help induce the relaxation response in you, which is going to alleviate that parasympathetic nervous system, it's going to alleviate the sympathetic nervous system, and it's going to instigate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for your relaxation responses. So it helps to actually rebalance the central nervous system and the two branches of it, so that we can reduce the stress symptoms and the way that we're feeling, overloaded, overwhelmed, completely exhausted and depleted, and start to restore a little bit of inner balance known as homeostasis by giving ourselves that rest and relaxation that we desperately need when we are under stress, and particularly for a prolonged period of time. Very important.
Absolutely. And then I guess, having said that, it's all well and good, but if you can't do that, what do you do instead?
Okay, so what do you recommend with the way that you approach people in this situation?
Well, coming across the Young Living essential oils has led me into studying aromatherapy, and simply by smelling a fragrance that can take you to that place, that can both physically, mentally and emotionally bring you out of that sympathetic override, is a simple tool to carry with you.
Absolutely. I've always got my lavender oil with me.
Absolutely.
Always. I've been using it since I was a child, mostly for headaches and migraines when I was a child. There's other things that I've done to help alleviate that, but lavender oil has always been something that I carry with me everywhere, and I have beside my bed. So, I also use them for my classes, and it's very similar to music. Music has the ability to uplift us, even to really bring us way low down, depending on what mood we're in and what we want to go with. So I sort of interpret music therapy very similarly to aromatherapy. It's just a different sense that we're actually engaging and using. So with the Young Living range, what is it about when we smell them that is actually doing us good? What is it doing when we're inhaling the aromas?
It's a very physical thing. When we inhale, we go through the olfactory system at the base of the brain, and it goes straight to the amygdala, which holds our memories and emotions, but also is where the hypothalamus is. So not only can we induce ourselves into a pleasant state and be remembering, oh yes, I smelt that smell when we were doing this activity and I felt so happy then. But a thing like lavender can actually induce the hypothalamus into slowing the heart rate down, calming someone down. So we've got a real physical response from the essential oils as well as the emotional response.
And how do the essential oils actually do that? How do they affect that response?
Well, they've got a brilliant method, which is what we call crossing the blood-brain barrier.
Sounds awesome.
It is. And I remember hearing years ago that if the pharmaceutical industry could find something like that, they would have the silver bullet or the magic bullet. Mm. And of course they have discovered that, and there are in some pharmaceuticals some essential oils, because essential oils have the ability to cross through the cellular wall and carry other things with them.
Now, that's really, really important. Can you say that again? Because I think that's such an important statement, and it needs to be said again so people understand what that actually means, the impact of that.
Yeah. So essential oils have lots of microscopic constituents, and those constituents have the ability in the whole molecule of oil to be able to cross through into our cells. The reason for that is because we're made up of similar things. Plants and animals, humans, have carbon, oxygen and hydrogen in common. So it's very easy for the molecular components of the essential oils to marry in with our cells, because they're a lipophilic or a fatty acid base.
See, I just find that so fascinating. You know, it's because we're all made of energy. Everything we share,
Absolutely.
we share all energy. We are exactly the same. Even this table, you know, the trees and plants outside, we're all really made up of the same thing. So to be able to have something that can enter our bloodstream and affect chemical changes within our body in a way that's going to improve our health and our well-being. That's just, it's natural and it's wonderful.
Absolutely. And what I'd like to introduce, and even though it's a whole field on its own with quantum physics, is that the essential oils carry a vibration or a frequency. And it is measurable, and they've done studies where all they did was crack the lid of a bottle of frankincense, and the meter that was measuring the frequency started to go up.
Wow.
We've got here a living substance. These are living substances that have been distilled with love and care and intention from the plants of the earth to provide us with and I'm going to say it, a truly natural medicine here, because this is what I have in my medicine chest. You won't find a drug in my house because I don't have them anymore, because I don't need them anymore. This is my medicine kit.
And hearing you say that, you know, and after just listening to your story and what you went through, that has quite a lot of weight to it, because you're at the brink of committing suicide and being told by doctors that you would need to take medication for the rest of your life. And because you questioned that, and because you were looking for alternatives and something a little bit more natural that aligned with your own personal philosophy, you were led to something that has made such a tremendous difference and had a wonderful impact in your health and well-being, that you're so passionate about it when you talk about it. And I love talking to other passionate people because it gets you excited about what could they possibly do for me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Viki.
It's all right. Thank you for joining us. Now, is there anything that you'd like to share as a parting advice to people who may find themselves in situations that you were in, have been having troubles, struggles, issues with their own hormones and not really having any answers from the medical profession as such, and wondering, well, what can I do about it? How can I help myself? Or perhaps being in that position and not wanting to go down the way of traditional medicine and wanting to try something a little bit more natural.
My first advice always is to continue to work with your medical professional, continue to take your medications, and then find professionals like a naturopath, an aromatherapist, who can help you move towards becoming less medicated or even medication free. And, you know, as you've said, Viki, listen to your body. Start learning how to listen to your body, just little bit by little bit. And just know that you're not on your own. Know that there's plenty of people there who are probably where you are at now, but also people who are just waiting to help you. And it's a matter of asking and reaching out. And I think for me that was very difficult. I'd been brought up very independent in a farming life. You just had to look after yourself.
All right, so thank you so much for sharing your story, for letting people know that it's okay to experience what you're experiencing, but you don't have to go alone. You don't have to do it on your own. There are people there who are willing to help, who possibly have been through something very similar to you and could show you an alternative way to begin to heal and help yourself if that's what you are looking for. Thank you very much for joining me today.
It's been a real pleasure, Viki.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's always good to learn more.
Indeed.
Because there's always something more to learn.
Yes.
So if you have liked today's video, please like it, please share it, subscribe to the channel, send it to a friend if you think that they could benefit from it. We're going to have Barb's details underneath this video for you so that if you want to connect with Barb, you'll be able to send her an email or go and have a look at her website, learn a little bit more about the Young Living range if that interests you, or simply get in touch with Barb and perhaps share what you're going through, and she might be able to help you along your journey.
And Viki, if I could mention our monthly Tuesday talks.
Yes,
meetings.
please do.
We've got a lovely network group of people who are of like mind, and we deal a lot with natural health and people who might have answers and solutions, and it's a wonderful sharing and a really safe environment. So
Absolutely.
we'd love to send you along to that as well.
Great. And if you come along, you'll get the added bonus of meeting me.
Absolutely. So ask about Tuesday talks if you're interested in that one.
Yes, please do. So underneath the video, you'll have Barb's details, you'll have my details, so you can contact either one of us about that. But please, if you do have issues to do with hormones and stress, particularly if you are a woman and you'd like a little bit of reassurance or a little bit of help guiding you in the right direction in natural therapies, please contact Barb, have a talk to her and see how she might be able to help you. Thank you so much for being with me today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learned something. Please look after yourself. Take care. Namaste. We'll see you next time.